First things first, Fedde, how are you?
I'm pretty good actually. I mean, a little bit nervous, but it's a big show coming up. So, but other than that, I'm great.
Are you done with the preparations, or is it a hectic
No, it's always a little bit hectic because there's so many different things that have to come together, at the same time. But I mean, the good thing is we've done it, once before, so everyone pretty much knows what to do.
So we're talking about your grand show.
Yeah.
You're performing it once in the Ziggo Dome. Are there plans to do it after that?
Yeah, I mean, we already last year I did a similar show 6 times in a venue called Carré, which is like the most prestigious venue here in Holland. The Ziggo Dome is like the biggest venue we have, and the idea is because we already had requests to do it outside of Holland. But since it's such a big and elaborate show, it's just, it involves a lot of, we really need to go with a ship or trucks. So,
Sure.
There is interest, but it needs to be enough for us to move it overseas. Yeah.
And what was your reasoning to do it again? Because, like you say, you did it in Carré for 6 evenings very successfully.
Yeah.
So when did the decision come to do it again?
Well, mainly, I mean, the first thing was I wanted to do my own show for a long time. But the thing is, if you want to connect a lot of stuff to your music, purely from a technical point of view, it was kind of hard before. But the way the place where the technique is now is far enough that I'm still able to DJ in whatever way I want, and we can still let all the lights move exactly how it should be, and people be in place. So that was the first thing. That's why we started it in Carré, which was a triad, but like very successful, because we only wanted to do 2 nights, but we ended up doing 6, which was great. And besides that, I kind of wanted to do something different, and of course everyone wants to do that, and that's always hard, but sometimes you kind of have to stick out your neck and really try to add something, because not that I, don't get me wrong, I mean, not that I don't like festivals or clubs or whatever, but I've been doing it for quite a while, and there's not that much change, I mean, like the stage takes a different shape, but it's basically the same, big speakers, lights, and LED, and we sort of have the same thing, but because it's my own show, I can put attention into every little detail. If I want a dancer to do something that really fits the music, instead of just doing just improvise, and I think that really adds to the whole experience. And I think we like it, because it's not only me, of course. There's a big team around it. But I think we just did a great job at that. So. Yeah, Ziggo Dome is pretty much it is sold out. So, only thing is now for us to deliver something that's even better than last time. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you also have a record out, a new record.
Yeah.
But I want to go back quickly to 2006.
Yeah.
10 years ago, this year is the anniversary of Put Your Hands Up.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How do you look back at that track now?
It's always mixed, but I think every artist, I think it doesn't matter which artist you are, but there's always this one record that was your breakthrough, or your biggest track, or whatever. So, and I think everyone kind of has mixed feelings about it, because in one way, it started my international career, mainly because I was already doing fine in Holland, but it boosted my international career, which was great. But on the other hand, I've done so much more over the years. I mean, I was quite lucky, because after that I had the Creeps and Let Me Think About It, and 3 Minutes to Explain in some countries, and so over the years I've done more than enough. But for a lot of people, that'll always be that track. So I'm super happy with it, and sometimes I hate it. But because I hardly play it. Well, actually, I just started playing it again.
Okay.
To be
Why?
honest. Well, after a while, I already spent I don't know, even though it's a relatively simple track, but I think I spent 3 weeks on making it, so I already heard it 1,000 times, and then you play it 1,000 times, and at a certain point you kind of have to let it go, I think, and also because I've done so many other stuff that I'm also proud of. so slowly I think the track faded out over the years and started playing it less and less, and the demand got less and less because people also know you from other tracks. But now that it's 10 years again, and I actually just remixed it for my own sets, which kind of, I don't know, it's not deliberate, but it kind of seems that in those 10 years music has also gone full circle, like a lot of stuff that is considered new and fresh, in my opinion, is basically the same stuff I did 10 years ago. Of course, in a like a 2.0 version, but it's kind of consists of the same elements. So, so it kind of makes perfect sense,
Well, it's quite interesting what you say, because in the past 10 years, since 2006, electronic dance music and electronic music in general has grown quite a bit, and it's become more popular. So how have you experienced this change? Because you were relatively at the start of your career by that point, but now you've been in the business for quite a while.
Yeah.
So how do you see this development of more and more DJs coming along and?
Well, I don't think it has ever. I mean, I think there's a big difference. No offense, but if you're from Europe, or maybe because or I wanted to say, or from America, because I think the biggest difference has been the fact that finally, after all those years, which is around like 30 years by now, even though it originated from America, but Americans finally after 30 years embraced dance music, and because so much pop music and stuff comes from there, it just gets a huge podium right away, because Madonna was doing dance stuff for a long time, and then there's a lot of other bands. So I think especially in like Central Europe and Eastern Europe, I think most people were already used to dance, and I don't think it got that much bigger here, because we always had like a very reliable, very steady, good scene, and maybe it the one year it's a little bit more, the other years it's a little bit less. But I think especially America has made, South America and Asia made the interest there a lot bigger. So I think that has been the main difference, actually, that pop music in America embraced dance music after all those years.
Do you have this might be a difficult question, but do you have a theory of why that is? Why America started to embrace it?
To be honest, I think one, definitely not the only one, but I think since the Black Eyed Peas actually accepted it, because I think they were definitely one of the first to be engaged in that scene. I think that actually made the biggest difference, to be honest, because I remember that. For instance, like Let Me Think About It did very well in America, but only because it was labeled indie and not dance. Because like dance, it meant you were not going to be played anywhere, because it was drug music and weird people under a bridge doing their thing, and So but I think as soon as the Black Eyed Peas embraced dance music and also called it what it was, I think that was the first real important step. And after that, of course, like guys like David, and now then Avicii, and then Calvin Harris. Now it was a lot more easy to get accepted as dance music and not labeled as like scary drug music that we don't play. So for me, I have the idea that they made a big difference.
And well, since this development of kind of the globalization of dance music, has your approach to producing music, to DJing, changed over the past 10 years?
I mean, a little bit. I think, let me put it this way, like, when I had my first, like, basically like 3 huge crossover hits, that was actually a problem for me. Because, then commercial dance music was not accepted at all. If you read interviews from then, people were writing like, who is this guy? And he's just gonna be a one-day fly, and he looks like someone from a boy band, and we can't take him serious. That was the whole atmosphere and consensus at the time. So, and also the same thing, like, even though I had like 3 big hits, like it didn't automatically mean that you would be playing a main stage or whatever, you still had. I remember, like, I did one tour in Australia, and I played a good sized tent, but behind me, I think it was Carl Cox, Josh Wink, Sharam from Deep Dish, all like, let's see what this guy can do. You know, it's nice that he produces, you know, cute records, but let's see if he can actually play. And you know, you kind of had to prove yourself. And also the bookings I got in the beginning were like not, because like it was not a cool thing to have hits, you know. So I got booked in all the places I didn't want to play. So I deliberately, you know, did like more undergroundy stuff, and like with Tool Room, for instance, like more techie stuff. And now that it's globally accepted to do a vocal track or whatever, you know, for me it's interesting again, because I just love working with vocals, to get back to that and you know, produce like complete songs. And
so
not,
in a way you have more freedom than now.
Yeah, I think so. But you know, one thing I decided from the get-go, actually, yeah, Bijna! One thing I decided as soon as actually, you know, it became obvious that Detroit was becoming a hit, is I said to myself, like, I'm not gonna do that same thing, but then in 1,000 different you know, versions. I always want to do something else, something new, something, because, you know, in the end, if I'm just copying myself, you know, I'm just going to get bored, you know, and so I never choose to do one particular thing. I always went a little bit here and there, and that's where I'm most comfortable. And my album as well, you know, it goes from 100 BPM to 128 and has broken beat and you know, 4 to the floor and just a little bit of everything, which, you know, it's just, I love music, you know, and I think the less rules there are, the better it is.
And well, you mentioned your new album, Something Real. What was the starting point? Because you say you wanted it to be eclectic, to have all kinds of different things. So what was the starting point? Was there one?
Well, I think the starting point for an album is always in your mind. You know, just the fact that you decide, okay, I want to do an album, because it always takes a lot of time. But in this case, it was more like it's for me at least, because you kind of want to keep your club stuff going, you know, and have like regular releases, and so you're just working on that. But every now and then you make something like, oh man, it's just like, this is a little bit too cool to just be a single off release, you know. And then so you kind of collect like track by track, and sometimes you have 2 in a month, and sometimes just 1 in a year, you know. You collect the album, and then at the end you kind of review all the tracks if they're still, you know, updated enough or interesting enough, or maybe the arrangement should be slightly different, and then that's when you really start finishing the album. So you have this collection of, you know, just raw material, and at the end you just polish everything in the way you want it to be, because I believe that a good song will always be a good song, no matter what the version or jacket around it. Yeah.
And well, your previous album, if I'm not mistaken, was in 2009.
Yeah.
And nowadays you see in the EDM industry, artists release more often track by track than a full album. So what made you decide to go for an album again?
Basically, it's just freedom again, you know, musical freedom, because it's people are more likely to accept if you do something weird or something that they're not used to. You know, if you do it on an album, it's just, you know, it's kind of, yeah, but it's an album track, you know, it's on my album, so people accept it easier than. And also, like, I think an album is made to listen to, and a dance track is functional as well. So, you know, for an album you can leave out the intro and outro beats, because, you know, it's just not interesting enough to listen to in your car. So you can just start the song where the song starts, and you know, so it takes out all those club rules that you need, that I'm very happy with when I'm DJing, because, you know, you just need them to be able to mix and stuff. But for an album you can let all that go, and then even go a little bit further, which is great. Last question,
is there, this might be a bit unfair, but is there one track on the album that kind of sticks out for you?
Yeah, but it's not so much, you know, it's not so much because of the track, because I can honestly say I'm super happy, because I made even more, but you make a selection, and I'm super happy with every track. But in this case, it's Lost, because I actually lost a very good friend, and this was while I was working on it, so that gets like an extra. Yeah, because music is memory, you know. If you hear a song, you're back on vacation, or you're back somewhere, and in this case, it's connected to to this dear person. Yeah.
So when you play the track now, do you revisit that emotion?
Well, yes, sort of. Because I think in general, yeah, that's what music is. You know, it's like an anchor of emotion that when you hear it, you're 16 again, or you're at that party again, or you know. So it can be sad sometimes, but reassuring. You know, yeah, that's why music is so great.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.